Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back, or welcome to another Bangs Audio review. Sorry, I'm just trying to get comfortable here. It's getting harder to do that these days. I think that the mental, things that you go through when you know something has come up. It's just like when you're on the interstate and you see like next rest stop is like 28 miles, and then you're like, okay, I should be fine. I really have to pee, but like I'm gonna be okay, I think. And then you see the next one, and it's like next rest stop 5 miles, and you're like, fuck, I don't know if I can make it. And it's even worse when you have to, take a crap, especially if like you're getting the sweats and the cramps and stuff like that. You know what I'm talking about. The closer you get, the worse it feels, because you know you're gonna get relief. It's just this far away. So that's kind of what I'm TMI. It's kind of what I'm going through with the back surgery that's now less than 3 weeks out, or almost actually exactly 3 weeks from today, as a matter of fact. The closer I get to it, the worse my symptoms feel, and I know part of that is just psychological. I get it. Doesn't make it any less uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Like it just sucks. So trying to get through. You know, it's been challenging, as you all know. It's affected a lot of different parts of my life and had negatively impacted a lot of parts of my life. But I'm hoping that once I get to the other side of it, things will get gradually better. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm not going political rant here. I just want to like talk to you from a human level. I feel like we're all kind of everybody, no sides here, just all of us in the United States, and probably to a greater extent in the world, are all kind of living with this thin veneer of everything's okay. Like everything's going to be fine, but it only takes that little, switch to get flipped, for you to like lose your shit. And I've been like close to that like a few times, luckily, by myself, but just like I can't fathom that we've gotten to where we are right now. And the blame and the violence and the hate and the fear and all of this stuff, it has a cumulative effect on you. Like it just does. Like unless you're completely and totally shut down, like you just don't care about anybody but yourself, and maybe your immediate family, like your kids or your wife or your partner. Unless you're just shut down and cut off and siloed off from everything and everyone else, like it's affecting you. I think those people are very few and far between, by the way. I think they're out there. I think they like to troll on on Reddit and, comments and X and stuff like that. I feel like those people think that they're untouchable, and they'll always think they're untouchable until something happens to them personally. And I just, I'm not like, I hate to be like a doomsayer here, but eventually it's going to affect all of us. Unless we like take control of ourselves and like address and like confront our emotions and confront our demons, and start trying to process that and trying to get through it, and trying to understand that the person that you live next to may not have voted for the person you voted for, or may not have the same belief system that you have, is still a person. They're not evil. They're not psychotic. They're not the devil or a demon. They don't deserve to die. Like, none of that. Like, as soon as we've got to get back from the edge, from the ledge that we are collectively on right now. And I hope I'm trying to be a part of that. That's all I'm saying, okay? I want to be a part of the solution. I want to be a part of the healing for everybody. And so that's why I do these reviews, because they're fun, because music is healing, because music is amazing, because music helps us process. And for me, like I grade these things much more on an emotional scale than I do on a technical scale. And you all know that because if you're subscribed to my channel or you tune into my channel when I post a video and you can get through the first like 5 minutes of whatever I'm talking about this time, I'm hoping this time it's actually something kind of important, that you know what you're in for. You're getting like more of an emotional response than like a technical, like super technical breakdown of things. But for me, music is life, and the way I experience it is very, very important. And so the way that these IEMs and sometimes headphones present it to me is very important. And I'm sure it is to you too, or else you wouldn't be here. So let's all touch some grass and listen to some music in our favorite set of IEMs. Like for like 15 minutes a day. That's it. Or even 10, or even 5. Take a time out. Take a couple of deep breaths. Get outside if you can. And try to bring the temperature down, because we're not in a good place, folks. Nothing good is going to happen from here if we keep going. Okay, TSMR, the Armor, has made its reappearance. Thank you to Penon Audio for replacing my flawed set. It was just the one switch on the right channel, the third switch that was inoperable. I'm not going to say it took longer than I wanted it to. It took longer than I wanted it to, but not longer than I expected it to get them back. They're back, and they're perfect. And I'm not saying like they're perfect, like they're the best set I've ever had, but they're literally like perfect now that I've run the graphs on the measurements. Everything came out just fine. So let's get into specs and a quick unboxing, and then we'll get into the good stuff, because there's a lot of good stuff in the Armor. The Armor comes with this box. It's Tansio Mirai, by the way. That's the name of the company, TSMR for short. It's so funny because the shock comes with a sleeve, but it's the same kind of box. So I was like, where's the like after I'd had them the first time around, I was like looking for the sleeve. I'm like, what do I do with the sleeve? Like, how am I going to do the video if I don't have there's no sleeve. It came in a very thickly padded envelope, but there was no sleeve. So anyway, don't expect one. There isn't one. Just like with a lot of Penon sets, you get an oversized, very nice oversized case inside of said very small but very efficient box. And then inside of there, the goodies include the IEMs, which came separately packed in little baggies, a couple of sets of ear tips, silicone, which are nice. They're typical sort of, standard Penon fare. None of their nice ones. I wish they would do that a little bit more. Maybe they do with their nicer sets, but I haven't run into it yet. You get a cleaning brush and cleaning tool, and then you get a dip switch, or a tool for the dip switches. And you can order it in 3.5 or 4.4, comes with a cover, and there's a little cable management leather strap, which is also very nice. And this thing's big enough where you can throw a dongle DAC in there with them, and you're good to go. So I have, and will review, I have now the QX13 from FIO. That is why none of my desktops are currently switched on, you may notice. That is because I've just been using the QX13 since I got it a couple of days ago, and it may have just made everything on my desk obsolete. Maybe not the R2R or this monstrosity here, because I still like this for my headphones. And that's the power amp for the speaker, so that gets to say. But it could easily just I could take the iFi Zendac V2 and the original FIO K11 off the table and just have that there. It's really, really good, but we'll get into that later. Next video, maybe midweek. I think I'm going to try to get 2 out this week. Maybe the Astral. Maybe I'll do a short on the QX13 because I think I can do it in 3 minutes or less. It's just freaking fantastic. But we'll see how that goes. I want to get more content up before I go in for surgery, because it's going to be a few weeks, maybe a month, where I'm not posting anything. That doesn't mean I want to rush anything, because rush jobs they're shitty, and they don't provide good information, and I don't ramble as much, which might be a good thing, but I like rambling, as you guys know. All right, so there's your unboxing, and The specs are up on the screen here. This is courtesy of Google AI. I didn't ask for AI, but it just did it for me, so that's fine. Two 8mm high magnetic dynamic drivers. I can show you the magnets are, yeah, they're high. So yeah, very, very strong magnetics there. Carbon mixed diaphragm, so that's like DLC. And then a hollow coaxial structure. So they're not isobaric, they're coaxial in their configuration. Mids are two nulls, and the high frequency, well, mids and highs for the nulls. The high frequency, ultra high frequency, is an Electret electrostatic driver. And that is your configuration. I will say this right now. I was expecting a little more sparkle and air out of the EST, but we'll get into that when we get into the sound impressions, sonic impressions. So 5 drivers per side, 2DD, 2BA, 1 EST, impedance of 11 ohms, so it's a lower impedance. Just be aware of that when you're, source pairing, source matching. Sensitivity of 103 decibels, so they do get loud fairly easily. They're fairly easy to drive in most respects. Frequency response 10 Hz to 45 kHz, 3-way crossover. Your cable is 2-strand single crystal copper silver plated hi-fi cable with a 2-pin 0.78mm connector. So lots of standard stuff there. I did use the stock cable. The stock cable is nice. Speaking of cables, that is a tight fit in that QX13, which is good. Yeah, I like the cable, just slightly stiff, but I don't care because it feels super high quality, and has really nice finishes on it, matchy with the IMs themselves. Ear hooks are not super aggressive. Like, I didn't really have any comfort issues with them. From a physical standpoint, they rubbed a little bit on my I guess it was your antitragus, the part that's out in your inner outer ear. There's a little bit of contact there that over a number of hours would probably bother me, but nothing really crazy. A little note here: the left cable, you can probably tell by where the notch is on that too, but there is a ring around the left side. So it's not the right side that has the ring; it's the left. Just be aware of that. The right side does not have that ring. So when you're hooking them up, you don't have to guess which side is which, because outside of that, there's no indication really of which side is which. So just a little helpful thing there. The switches are good for changing the tuning. I personally went with default mode. They call it 020. I say 010 because that's how I depict the switches being on or off. 1 is on, 0 is off. Okay, so it comes in default mode, which is 020 or 010. You saw it probably in the graph on the in the community section. That was my preferred mode. First switch off, second switch on, third switch off. You might have a different preference. That's fine. The nice thing is that they're there, and now that I have a set that both sides work, they have full, 3 different tunings in full effect. There's Bass and Beyond's review. Yeah, I think that's all we need to talk about. Build quality, again, is really nice. Like, it's high quality 3D printed resin with a really nice sparkly faceplate. Has sort of a, again, another sort of stone path kind of feel to it. Gold, tan, bronze, coppery. They're pretty. They're very pretty. And yeah, I got nothing bad to say about the build quality. The fit issue, like I mentioned, for me, oh yeah, you can see there's the coax configuration with the 8mm dynamic drivers. Wow, that's cool. They're pretty separate, pretty separated, I should say. You can see your BAs in there and your EST. So yeah, smoky, but fairly, at least translucent, maybe not quite transparent. But yeah, you can see all the goodies in there. So yeah, build quality is very, very good. That's to be expected. The set, as I probably haven't mentioned yet, right around $300. I think $290. Is that it? Let's see, maybe. Let's click on the Amazon link so we can get that for sure. Yeah, I was right. $289. $289. You can actually order it in 2.5 millimeter balance too if you're feeling freaking crazy. There you go. But yeah, $289 is the regular retail price. Obviously, if you can get them on sale, as I did on AliExpress, I think I paid around $250 shipped. It was like $251. Feel like they're worth every penny. They're under $300. That's the sweet spot these days. As long as it's a high performing set, which this is, that seems to be right about the point where you don't really have to spend much more than that. Your diminishing returns really start in at about $300 ish. There are exceptions, of course, but yeah, these are definitely well worth the price. So let's bring up the graph, get into the specs. Yes, I unplugged it. I just finished with the right channel because I wanted to make sure that that switch was operational. I mean, I could tell just from listening to it that it was, but here we go. Okay, so this is left channel, and if you can see, maybe you won't see the colors, but the blue, like navy blue, that's with the first switch on and the second two switches off. So that's your bass enhanced mode. It is bass enhanced. It is bass heavy, and to me it was a little bit too much. Not that there was a ton of like bleed or boominess or pillowiness to the bass. It just, I felt like it was just a touch too much. Now, bass heads won't feel that way at all. That's the bass head setting. In fact, I would argue that the second switch up, the one that I liked, is also bass head. Almost the third switch, but not quite. The second switch up, to me, I tried to sort of put it in a gold-ish color. It's hard for that to show up, but that's the Goldilocks setting for me. If I take off, oh yeah, and the bottom curve here, that's the last switch up. So that would be like the lowest amount of bass. If I take off 1 and 3 and just leave 2 and then throw up the right channel, there we go. You can see channel matching is pretty damn good. I think this little sparkly, peaky thing here happening at 13.5K ish. Yeah, I think this is where the electrostatic is coming into play. I don't feel like there's an imbalance there. I think that's just kind of how it graphed out. You know, these graphs are less than trustworthy past 8K anyway. The dip is real, I think. In fact, I know it's real because I'm sensitive to 8K, and I didn't pick any of that up. Like, that makes me kind of go, ugh. You know, I don't like that very much. It's especially, for me, if it's not a great quality BA and there's a lot of energy at 8K, that's like a no for me. That's just a straight no. I think, and not to say that the quality of the drivers in the Mimosa, Queen of Audio Mimosa, was bad necessarily, but I don't think it was great. And that 8K energy on the Mimosa made me go, no. It's a no. So I didn't obviously have any problem here. I don't feel like this negatively impacted the treble presentation. The treble is already going to be too soft for some people. It's not going to just not have the energy that some people are looking for. I personally really enjoyed them not being a treble monster. You know, we've done some sets recently that have quite a bit of treble energy. This was a nice break. The best way I can describe the Armor is it is like putting on your most comfortable pair of jeans or pants that you own. Like, you don't go to work in them anymore. Like, they're way too beat up for that. You don't go maybe even out in public with them, but you probably could. You know what I mean? But you're not going to a nice restaurant. You're just putting them on because you want to be fucking comfortable and you want to relax. That's what this set comes across to. Now, that, to me, that's not to say there isn't any technical ability here. It is a fairly technical set. There is detail retrieval. There is a really, I didn't get into the bass as much as I could have or should have, but I will. The bass is something special, very special. If you're a fan of bass, I haven't heard too many sets that are this good. with their bass presentation without being like totally, bass head overblown. Um, this set seems to nail it with this setting, the switch setting. Almost, I don't know if I've heard better bass. And the bass on the Supermoon, the Campfire Audio Supermoon, is like visceral, just like Rogue said it would be, and really, really impressive. But the bass on the Armor, that's really the star of the show. It is. You can see here the ear gain is fine. It's not going to offend anybody. It's not too energetic, but it's not flat either. It is a fairly V-shaped set, but the mids they're wonderful. They're warm and engaging. They're not clinical. They're not super crisp. They're not super like technical, but they're accurate and they're warm and they're engaging. And I love that. This set, just like last year when I went into surgery the first time, I brought a set with me that I knew was just going to be comfortable and easy to listen to, and that was the Kafine Dulcie. And I brought it because it was a little less expensive in case it somehow disappeared. I'm going to take my chances. I'm going to bring the Armor with me this time. This is going to be my recovery room set for when I'm in the hospital. Because I just can't think of anything else that's just going to be easier or more satisfying to listen to in those first, like, pretty horrible hours after you have a major surgery. So, these are coming. QX13 is coming. And I think that's all I'm going to bring. And I should be fine. So, if that tells you anything, I think that tells you everything. It's a super, just comfy sound signature that I love. It gets a highly recommended, of course, but understanding that from a technical standpoint, from a treble standpoint, this is not going to satisfy people that like that bright, leaning, super detailed, super like immersive kind of soundstage. This has got a nice soundstage. It kind of stays right around your head. The bass goes deep a little bit into your chest, but it doesn't get super high. It doesn't get super wide. It's just kind of like around. It's not like a super immersive set, but there is some immersion there. You're just kind of like, you're in it without it being like, whoa. You know what I mean? It's not like the SL224, the Slevo SL224. And I'm going to bring that in, and I'm sorry I didn't comp this with the Martillo. That when I do the Martillo, I will comp it to the Armor, so that comp will happen. Just not during this video because I haven't heard the Punch Audio Martillo. Have not heard that one yet. Oh look, hey Rogue, there's the Docinco I forgot to send back to you. I'll send it out today or tomorrow. So to wrap things up, the Armor is not inexpensive, but to me it does deliver really, really well in just about every aspect, except for if you're a treble head, and probably not going to be for you so much. I will say this one last comp before we wrap it up. If you go with the third switch up and the other two off, then my opinion is you might as well just get the Slevo SL224. Because it's going to provide a very similar sound signature with a much grander soundstage and much more technical detail. So that's why I didn't like, I liked it because it's balanced, but I was like, oh, the Slevo is this, but it's just a lot better. So stick with your bass settings. If you're a bass head, first switch up. If you like a little bit less bass, but still want it to be like, resonating and like shaking you a little bit, then go with the second switch up. And if you're just going to use the third switch up, then buy the Slevo. Save yourself $60. And that's about the best way I could put it. So we ran a little bit long. I'm going to go before the thing cuts me off. Sorry for the little rant at the beginning. I just would really like people to start being a little bit more aware and being a little bit nicer and being a little bit more compassionate and empathetic towards other people. Because I think if we can do that, we'll be able to get through this difficult time. And if we can't do that, things are going to get fucking bad. So, with that, be careful, be safe, be nice. Love y'all. Nothing but peace to you. See you soon.